So obviously this is day 2 of the trip. Today is Friday, so I had to think about that, but today is Friday, so we started off the day early by taking a nice 2-mile walk up a ginormous hill, because I love views, up to Park Guell. I learned that it's not pronounced Park Guell, it's Park Guell. So it was pretty, I don't know, I thought it was nice. It's definitely worth seeing, and I think it's a critical piece of Barcelona. But
maybe take the subway there.
Yeah, maybe take the subway there. And I think honestly, if you don't have an audio guide to walk around with, you wouldn't understand half of what's going on there. You have to have an audio guide to walk you through the different pieces of it, the different architectural meanings, have you visit all of the critical points.
It's all by Gaudi, the architect and designer, so he had lots of nature elements in his work, so you can kind of see that throughout the park. There's in the architecture and structures there's waves like in the ocean built in, there's special mosaics, there's lots of animals and bugs and nature and wildlife kind of built in, lots of paths that were designed to be really functional. So just really interesting to look at and listen to on the audio guide.
Yeah, so must needed. Please don't do a tour. They're these giant groups of 50 people walking around, and nothing is very crowded until the tour shows up. So if you walk by yourself with an audio guide and an earphone in your ear, then all of the big sites are empty. If you walk around with a 50-person tour group, then there's 50 people trying to take the same picture of you at the same time in a limited amount of time. So.
And the main attraction at Park Guell was there's a monument at the very top. It's, in my opinion, probably the highest point outdoors that you could possibly get to in Barcelona. But there's 2 crosses and a third cross that has just an arrow pointing up toward the sky, which is thought to mean pointing to heaven. So that was really interesting to look at. Really a beautiful kind of sculpture, minus the man that decided it was fine to stand on top of it. But really a beautiful thing to look at and see.
Yeah, so we left there, got some coffee because that was much needed. And then the idea was to kind of just wander back and see some of the different sites. But we filtered back through the hotel to just use the bathroom and clean up a little bit. And at that moment, I realized I misbooked our tickets for the Sagrada Familia. I thought I was booking it for 3 p.m., which is 1,500. Instead, I booked it for 1 p.m., which is 1,300. So we sprinted 3/4 of a mile to the Sagrada Familia, and thankfully we arrived 34 minutes late. They still let us in. So it was, I don't know, it's way different than any basilica or church that we had ever seen. We've seen them in, different places in Europe, but this one stood out from all of them.
You could really tell modernism is really popular in Barcelona, and you could really tell that in the church. It was very modern, very clean, and everything really kind of had a meaning to it, even all the way down to the columns that were inside of the basilica. This is not a basilica, but inside of the church. The columns were meant to be like trees, so there were even different species of trees that were built. So it was really interesting to be able to see kind of the modernism side of a church versus what we've traditionally seen with the basilicas in some other places.
Yeah, that and the stained glass was unbelievable. So one side of the church had morning sun, so the church, the main doors faced the sea, so that was south, and one side obviously got the sunrise, the other side got the sunset. So the side with the sunrise, all the stained glass was like blues and greens and very peaceful for the morning. And then as the sun moved across the church during the day on the other side, it was tones of orange and red. And we were there kind of midday, so we probably didn't get the full, like, you know, stained glass experience, but you could still tell, and the shades of red that were streaming across were just unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it.
It was colors through the stained glass, like it was medicine for your eyes. It was just so beautiful to see that bright and vibrant of a color in all the different colors, but it truly felt nice on your eyes.
Stumbled across a acai bowl, acai. See, I can't say things. Acai bowl place. Actually, really good. Never had a bowl like that before. I think that it was literally just frozen acai in a bowl with some toppings on it, and it was awesome. So enjoyed that. Then we wandered through some of the shopping districts, and pretty much just wrapped up a 90-minute Rick Steves like walking guide of I don't know, the old town of Barcelona, and it really had you walk down some streets, walk through some areas that you never would have like walked through, and definitely some sites that you may have looked up and just gone, oh, that's cool, but then you realize that that's the original gate to Barcelona that the Romans built. Had a great time. Restaurant was actually in the Jewish Quarter that we had toured earlier today. Without that Rick Steves tour, we had had no idea. So it was really cool to see. Very local place. The owner was basically our server. Chatted about wine a lot of the time.
And the Jewish Quarter is called the Call, and we never would have known that without the tour.
Yeah, so it was awesome. Food was not like last night. It was very traditional, more basic food, so really enjoyed it. Had a great bottle of wine. Had sherry for the first time, great dessert. So overall, amazing experience.
And who knew that I would speak Italian in Spain?
Yeah.
Owner spoke very little English, and we speak very little Spanish, so we both spoke Italian, and we went for it.
Yeah. Having a combination of a very small amount of Spanish, a good amount of Italian, and a better amount of English paid dividends there.
And the wine list was incredible.
Yeah, great. It was a lot of local Catalunya-based wine. So overall, tremendous experience. Very different to last night, but I'd say a success on day 2.
We tried a dish called, I think it's called tincho.
Yeah, tincho.
A traditional Catalan dish of sausage, sauerkraut, cabbage, and potatoes, which was really interesting. Very different. We had something similar in Vienna, I think, but somewhat different as well. So interesting taste.
Yeah, overall solid. Now it's time to knock out for the night and up and at 'em early tomorrow for wine tastings.
Off to Cava.